The award announcement echoed through the entire arena, cameras flashing, fans screaming, everyone celebrating the historic win. But in the middle of all that noise, one moment suddenly changed everything. Seokjin tried to smile while holding back tears, but the emotion hit harder than anyone expected. His eyes started shaking, his lips trembling, and before the crowd even realized it, Jungkook was already looking at him differently. Not at the trophy, not at the stage, only at Seokjin. And then it happened. Fans are now calling it the most emotional scene of the night, while others believe there was a hidden reason behind Jungkook's reaction that nobody noticed before. Because honestly, the award was huge. But Jungkook holding Seokjin became the real story. The arena still shook with thunderous applause long after the winners were announced, but something had already shifted in the atmosphere. It was no longer about the flashing cameras, the historic achievement, or the roaring crowd chanting their names from every direction. The attention of millions slowly drifted toward a single fragile moment unfolding under the bright stage lights. Seokjin stood there trying to compose himself, but the emotions inside him were collapsing too fast. Years of pressure, endless expectations, painful sacrifices, and silent exhaustion suddenly crashed together the second the award touched his hands. The tears that escaped his eyes did not look like ordinary tears of happiness. They looked heavier, deeper, almost like someone who had been holding everything inside for far too long. At first, many people thought Jungkook was simply celebrating beside him like everyone else. But the closer the camera zoomed in, the more impossible it became to ignore Jungkook's expression. His smile slowly faded the moment he noticed Seokjin struggling to breathe normally. While the rest of the members were still reacting to the victory, Jungkook's entire focus locked onto Seokjin alone, as if nothing else around him existed anymore. Fans later replayed the footage frame by frame because there was one detail nobody could explain. Jungkook looked devastated. Not surprised. Not emotional in the usual way. Devastated. Like he understood something the audience did not. The atmosphere became strangely intimate despite tens of thousands of people surrounding them. Seokjin lowered his head for only a second, but that second was enough for Jungkook to move closer, without hesitation. His hand slowly reached Seokjin's shoulder before gently pulling him nearer, protecting him from the overwhelming attention swallowing the stage. And suddenly, Seokjin completely broke down. The cameras caught the exact moment his composure disappeared. Tears rolled faster, his expression crumbling while trying desperately to remain strong in front of the world. Yet what shattered fans even more was Jungkook's reaction afterward. He did not let go. Not even once. Social media exploded within minutes. Millions of viewers stopped talking about the award itself and started obsessing over the emotional tension between them. Some fans believed Jungkook had witnessed the hidden struggles Seokjin carried behind the scenes for months. Others noticed how unusually protective Jungkook became throughout the entire night, staying close every single second as if afraid Seokjin would completely fall apart if left alone. Then another detail sent the internet into chaos. A backstage clip surfaced hours later showing Jungkook watching Seokjin from a distance before the awards ceremony even started. His expression already looked tense back then, almost worried. Nobody knew why. Seokjin, meanwhile, looked exhausted despite smiling for cameras. The contrast between them made fans feel like something much deeper had happened long before they stepped onto that stage. As theories spread across every platform, people began connecting older moments that suddenly felt different now. Jungkook quietly fixing Seokjin's outfit during interviews. Watching him carefully during concerts. Staying unusually close whenever Seokjin looked tired. Tiny moments nobody truly questioned before were now returning with painful meaning. The public only saw a few emotional seconds on stage. But fans started believing those seconds revealed a hidden story nobody fully understood yet. What made everything worse was Jungkook's eyes during the ending scene of the ceremony. Even while smiling at cameras, he kept glancing towards Seokjin with an expression filled with concern that never completely disappeared. It looked less like celebration and more like silent protection. And that was the moment the internet truly lost control. Because people realized the biggest story of the night was never the award. It was the terrifying possibility that Jungkook knew exactly how broken Seokjin really was behind the smiles. The footage continued spreading across every platform overnight, but the more people watched it, the more unsettling the moment became. What first looked like a simple emotional reaction slowly transformed into something nobody could stop talking about. Every slowed frame, every trembling breath, every glance between Jungkook and Seokjin carried a weight that felt impossible to fake. By the next morning, millions of fans were no longer discussing the award speech or the victory itself. Instead, they were asking the same question repeatedly. What exactly happened to Seokjin before that stage moment? And somehow, Jungkook seemed to notice every single one of them. One backstage angle especially shook fans to the core. While staff members moved around celebrating and congratulating everyone, Jungkook could be seen silently watching Seokjin from across the room again. There was no smile on his face that time. Only concern. Heavy concern. Almost like he was trying to read emotions Seokjin desperately wanted to hide. Fans immediately connected another heartbreaking detail nobody had noticed earlier during the ceremony itself. Right before the winners were announced, Seokjin subtly lowered his head and exhaled deeply while staring at the floor for several seconds. The camera almost missed it completely, but Jungkook noticed. He always noticed. The realization alone became enough to send the fandom into emotional chaos. Because suddenly, their entire interaction throughout the night felt painfully different. Jungkook was not reacting like someone simply celebrating with a bandmate. His movements looked instinctive, protective, urgent in a strangely quiet way. And the moment Seokjin's tears finally escaped, Jungkook moved instantly.
No hesitación. No confusión.
As if he had already been expecting that exact breakdown to happen. That single detail changed everything. The internet became flooded with emotional edits, theories, and hidden analyses dissecting their body language frame by frame. Some fans pointed out how Jungkook's hand tightened slightly on Seokjin's shoulder the second the cameras zoomed closer, almost shielding him from the overwhelming attention. Others noticed Seokjin leaning toward Jungkook for only a brief second before trying to regain control of himself again. But that tiny movement shattered millions of hearts. Because for one vulnerable moment, Seokjin looked completely exhausted. Not physically, emotionally. People started revisiting older performances, older interviews, older award shows, searching for signs they may have ignored before. And unexpectedly, painful patterns started appearing everywhere. Seokjin smiling while looking drained backstage. Jungkook quietly staying near him during stressful moments. Tiny touches. Silent check-ins. Small protective gestures hidden behind bright public smiles. The deeper fans looked, the more emotional the story became. Then another clip surfaced late that evening, and everything exploded again. The video was blurry, filmed from far away backstage after the ceremony had already ended. Most people in the room were still celebrating loudly, but near the hallway exit, Seokjin could briefly be seen wiping his face again while trying to calm himself down. What shocked fans was Jungkook standing beside him the entire time, not leaving even for a second. He looked exhausted too. Not from the event. From watching Seokjin suffer. That was the detail nobody could emotionally recover from. Jungkook's face carried the same helpless expression people had seen on stage earlier, except this time there were no cameras directly in front of him. No performance. No audience. Just raw concern that looked painfully genuine. Fans began wondering how long Jungkook had been carrying that worry silently. Because suddenly, his behavior over the past months started feeling heavier than before. Every protective glance during concerts. Every moment he waited for Seokjin backstage. Every soft expression whenever Seokjin looked tired under bright lights. Things that once looked sweet now felt heartbreaking. Theories continued spreading faster by the hour. Some believed Seokjin had been quietly struggling under enormous emotional pressure leading up to the award ceremony. Others thought Jungkook may have been one of the only people who truly understood how serious it had become behind closed doors. Nobody knew the truth. But that uncertainty only made the story more emotional. And somewhere in the middle of all the viral clips and endless online discussions, one particular image continued haunting everyone the most. Seokjin crying while holding the award, And Jungkook looking at him like the trophy no longer mattered at all. The image of Seokjin standing under the blinding lights with tears streaming down his face became impossible to escape. It was everywhere. On fan pages, news articles, giant screens in cafes, trending hashtags flooding every platform hour after hour. But no matter how many times people replayed the moment, attention always returned to the same person standing beside him. Jungkook. Not because he said anything. Not because he tried to take attention away from the award. But because the look in his eyes felt too real to ignore. There was something terrifyingly emotional about the way Jungkook watched Seokjin that night. It did not feel like someone witnessing a happy, emotional reaction. It felt like someone watching another person finally reach their limit. And fans could feel it. The more clips surfaced, the heavier the atmosphere around the story became. One particular recording from the audience side shook the internet harder than expected because it captured a detail hidden from the official broadcast. Seconds before Seokjin started crying, Jungkook had already turned fully toward him. Almost instinctively. Almost like he sensed it before it happened. That realization sent chills through millions of viewers. Because people started asking themselves something nobody wanted to admit out loud. How long had Jungkook been noticing Seokjin silently falling apart? The question alone made every older interaction between them suddenly feel different. Fans revisited concert footage from months earlier and noticed Jungkook constantly checking on Seokjin whenever schedules became overwhelming. During rehearsals, his eyes often searched for Seokjin first. During interviews, he subtly waited for Seokjin to finish speaking before relaxing himself. Tiny details that once looked ordinary now carried unbearable emotional weight. Then another moment resurfaced from an older performance overseas. Seokjin looked visibly exhausted backstage while trying to smile for fans, but in the background Jungkook could briefly be seen watching him with the exact same expression from the award night. Quiet concern. Silent panic hidden behind composure. People immediately connected everything together. And suddenly, the award ceremony no longer felt like the beginning of the story. It felt like the moment the hidden emotions finally became impossible to hide anymore. Late that night, fans noticed something else that made the entire situation even more heartbreaking. After the ceremony ended and the members were leaving the venue, reporters shouted countless questions at them while cameras flashed nonstop from every direction. Most people expected Jungkook to wave at the crowd or celebrate the victory proudly. Instead, he kept slowing down near Seokjin repeatedly. And Seokjin looked emotionally drained. His smile appeared weaker now, like the energy holding him together on stage had finally disappeared the moment the cameras stopped rolling. He still thanked fans, still bowed politely, still tried to appear calm. But his eyes remained swollen from crying, and every movement looked heavier than before. What destroyed fans emotionally was the way Jungkook reacted to that exhaustion. There was one blurry clip where Seokjin briefly lost balance while walking near the exit stairs. The moment lasted less than 2 seconds before he recovered himself, but Jungkook reacted instantly, reaching toward him without even thinking. The movement was so automatic that people replayed it endlessly online. Because instincts like that usually come from watching someone struggle for a very long time. The theories became more emotional by the hour. Some fans believed Seokjin had been silently carrying immense pressure connected to expectations, schedules, and years of responsibility nobody fully understood. Others believed Jungkook had witnessed those struggles privately for far longer than people realized. And if that was true, then the stage moment became even more painful.